Every single morning, countless older adults reach into a cabinet, take out a bottle of vitamins, and wash them down with some water, fully believing they are taking a proactive step for their well-being. But what if I were to tell you that this very daily ritual might be quietly undermining your health? A report in the Journal of the American Medical Association suggests that seniors who consume the incorrect types of vitamin supplements could be facing a staggering 40% increased risk of premature death. Let me repeat that for emphasis. 40%. And still, this is a topic no one seems to be discussing. You're likely wondering, how could a product available right off the shelf, one that's even specifically promoted for seniors, possibly pose a threat? The key is understanding how your body transforms after you turn 65. Your liver's ability to detoxify is not what it once was. Your kidneys don't filter waste as efficiently. And your nervous system grows far more susceptible to even minor imbalances. Certain vitamins that were beneficial in your 40s or 50s can become hazardous and even toxic when you're in your late 60s and beyond. And the truly frightening aspect? The symptoms, like fatigue, mental fog, dizziness, and aching joints, are easily mistaken for the normal process of aging. But they are not. They are signs of a gradual, silent overload that your body is desperately trying to manage. So, in this video, allow me to guide you through the 4 vitamins you ought to steer clear of after age 65, as they could be insidiously sabotaging your health. After that, we will shift our focus to the 4 crucial ones you should be incorporating into your routine instead, nutrients that can fortify your heart, sharpen your intellect, and prolong your self-sufficiency. We'll start with one that appears completely harmless, often lauded for its benefits to vision and immunity, but in the wrong form and dosage, it can slowly poison your body over the years. And the most troubling part? It's hidden within most multivitamins targeted at the senior population. Let's delve into vitamin A. When you hear vitamin A, your thoughts probably turn to sharper eyesight, radiant skin, or a resilient immune system. For a long time, it has been portrayed as a champion in the realm of wellness. And in many respects, it is. But once you pass the age of 65, that narrative begins to shift. Vitamin A comes in 2 forms: beta-carotene, which you obtain from foods like sweet potatoes and carrots, and retinol, the preformed version present in a multitude of supplements. And it's this latter form, retinol, that is quietly generating issues for seniors. You see, retinol is a fat-soluble vitamin. This means that unlike excess vitamin C or B, which your body flushes out, it gets stored in your liver and fatty tissues. As we age, our liver function slows down. Consequently, the retinol you consume today might still be residing in your system weeks, or even months from now, accumulating quietly and without notice. Now, let's discuss the symptoms. Dry skin, feelings of dizziness, joint discomfort, and blurry vision. A great number of older adults simply attribute these to the process of growing older. But in truth, they could be indicators of chronic vitamin A toxicity, and this condition is more prevalent than most people think. A 2022 study featured in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition brought something deeply alarming to light. Seniors with an excessive intake of vitamin A had a 25% greater risk of developing atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat that dramatically elevates the danger of stroke. And the connection? High-dose retinol lurking in their daily multivitamins and other supplements. I recall a patient of mine, Eleanor, who was 68. She came to me experiencing fatigue, lightheadedness, and peculiar joint aches that weren't improving with any treatment. All her tests came back normal until we looked at her vitamin levels. Her retinol was off the charts. She had been taking a senior multivitamin every single day, completely unaware that it contained more than 1,200 micrograms of preformed vitamin A. Once she stopped taking it and switched to food-based beta-carotene, her symptoms gradually subsided. Here's the positive news. You don't need to eliminate vitamin A entirely. You simply have to acquire it from the proper source. Beta-carotene, which is found in natural foods such as spinach, kale, carrots, and eggs, is both safe and self-regulating. Your body only converts what it needs into vitamin A, making an overdose practically impossible. So, what action can you take right now? Examine your multivitamin. Search for anything listed as retinol or retinol palmitate. If you find it, particularly in amounts exceeding 700 micrograms per day for women or 900 for men, it might be time to discard that bottle. The most secure approach? Rely on whole foods. Allow your body to determine its own vitamin A requirements and relieve your already slowing system of the burden of storage. And now, let's turn to another nutrient that presents itself as a friend, but for older adults, it may be quietly inflicting long-term harm on your vital organs. Let's discuss iron, the energy mineral. It's found in multivitamins, energy boosters, and even your morning cereal. For younger individuals, it's absolutely vital, but after 65, it could be the very element that is silently damaging your heart, brain, and joints. Most people equate iron with vitality. It's a fact that iron aids in the creation of red blood cells and combats fatigue. This is why it's frequently prescribed to address anemia. But this is where the story takes a dark turn. Once you are past menopause, or if you're a man beyond middle age, your body no longer gets rid of iron the way it once did. You're not losing it on a monthly basis or through strenuous exercise. This means that the iron you consume accumulates slowly, insidiously, year after year. And unlike certain vitamins, your body has no easy way to expel excess iron. It gets deposited in the liver, heart, and pancreas, where, over time, it becomes toxic. Allow me to share a story. George, at 70 years old, had been taking a senior multivitamin containing iron for more than a decade. He had no history of anemia and no recent blood loss. But he felt persistently exhausted, his joints were stiff, and he was experiencing early signs of memory loss. His physician attributed it to aging. But when we conducted a ferritin test, we discovered his iron levels were dangerously elevated. What's the issue with excessive iron? It triggers oxidative stress, a state in which volatile molecules start to inflict damage on your cells, tissues, and DNA. It quickens inflammation, places a strain on your liver, and even impacts the brain. Researchers have connected surplus iron to increased risks of Alzheimer's, heart conditions, and certain types of cancer. The unnerving part. The symptoms are ambiguous: joint pain, fatigue, mental haze, perhaps a racing heart. And because these are so prevalent in older age, they are seldom linked back to supplements. Unless you have a confirmed diagnosis of low iron from lab tests, you probably have no need for supplementation. Your diet likely provides everything you require. Red meat, beans, leafy greens, and iron-fortified grains all contain more than an adequate amount. So what steps should you take? First, inspect your multivitamin. If it includes iron and you are not iron deficient, make the switch to an iron-free formula crafted for seniors. Second, consult your doctor. Inquire about having your serum ferritin and transferrin saturation levels checked. These straightforward blood tests can show whether your iron stores are excessively high. And if they are, the fix might be as simple as reducing red meat consumption and avoiding iron-fortified supplements. Iron is akin to fire. When you need it, it provides warmth and energy. But after 65, if you're not vigilant, it can slowly burn through your body from the inside out. Coming up, we will discuss one of the most widely recommended nutrients for bone health. But for many seniors, it may be hardening their arteries more than their bones. Let's talk about calcium in part 4. If you are over 65, there's a strong likelihood you've been advised to take calcium. Perhaps a doctor suggested it years ago. Maybe you encountered an advertisement promising stronger bones and a lower risk of fractures. You might have even grabbed a bottle during a sale because it felt like a sensible precaution. But here's the silent truth. Calcium, when consumed incorrectly, could be causing more harm than good. Let's begin with something most people are unaware of. Calcium does not work in isolation. It requires guidance. When you were younger, your body had ample assistance in directing calcium precisely where it was needed, into your bones and teeth. But as we grow older, that entire process becomes significantly less efficient. And without the right support, that calcium begins to accumulate in all the wrong places. Instead of fortifying your skeleton, it can get deposited in soft tissues such as your joints, your kidneys, or even worse, your arteries. I once had a conversation with Susan, who was 70. She was incredibly conscientious, always taking her calcium every morning without fail. She was trying to safeguard her bones, but she had also started experiencing stiffness in her chest, occasional chest discomfort, and digestive problems. It wasn't until a scan revealed calcification in her arteries that we understood her calcium wasn't ending up where it was supposed to. It was blocking the vital pathways of her heart. This situation is not uncommon. Multiple studies have demonstrated that calcium supplements taken without balancing nutrients like vitamins D3 and K2 can elevate the risk of heart attacks and strokes. The surplus calcium doesn't simply disappear, it needs a destination. If your bones are unable to absorb it, it finds an alternative home. To make matters worse, many seniors also take acid-blocking medications for reflux, which diminish stomach acid, and you need stomach acid to properly absorb calcium. So not only could your supplement be ineffective, but it might also be contributing to bloating, constipation, and the poor absorption of other crucial minerals like zinc or magnesium. So what is the superior approach? It's not about foregoing calcium, it's about obtaining it from the correct sources. Leafy greens like kale and bok choy, almonds, chia seeds, sardines with their bones, and yogurt are all abundant in naturally absorbable calcium. Your body recognizes it, it utilizes it, and it knows where to direct it. And if you find you must take a supplement, ensure it is combined with vitamin D3 and K2. These two act as traffic coordinators, steering calcium into your bones and keeping it clear of your arteries. Above all, remember this: bones need more than just calcium. They require balance, strength, and activity. A brief daily walk or some light resistance exercises can do more for your bone health than any pill ever could. So before you grab that high-dose calcium tablet, take a moment. Assess your diet, consider your lifestyle, and ask yourself, am I truly helping my bones? Or am I silently placing a burden on my heart? Now let's turn to a vitamin that almost no one suspects, one that is water-soluble and supposedly safe, yet in high doses can inflict real and lasting damage on your nervous system. This one might come as a shock. Vitamin B6 is frequently promoted as the energy vitamin. You'll find it in multivitamins, energy drinks, nerve support supplements, and even sleep aids. Doctors recommend it. Labels assert that it enhances metabolism and brain health. But for adults over 65, an excess of vitamin B6 can quietly degrade your nerve function, and you might not even realize it is happening. Let me tell you about Robert, age 67. He was a retired engineer, mentally sharp and active, but recently he had begun to observe something peculiar. Numbness in his fingers, a tingling sensation in his feet, and occasional burning feelings that made sleeping difficult. His doctor suspected it could be early diabetic neuropathy, but Robert wasn't diabetic. What he did have was a daily supplement regimen that consisted of 3 separate products, all of which contained B6. And that's where the real issue was concealed. You see, while B6 is water-soluble, which means the body can expel some of the surplus, it doesn't behave like other B vitamins. When consumed in high doses, B6 can accumulate specifically in your nerve tissue, and over time, that accumulation becomes toxic. Research indicates that taking more than 50 milligrams per day, a surprisingly easy threshold to cross when combining multivitamins and fortified foods, can trigger neurotoxicity. The symptoms include numbness, burning feet, balance issues, muscle weakness, and even irreversible nerve damage. And here's the perilous part. It is often misdiagnosed as aging, arthritis, or even cognitive decline. But in many instances, it is not aging. It's a preventable form of nerve toxicity. After 65, your body grows more sensitive to imbalances, your liver is slower to clear out excesses, your nerves repair at a reduced pace, and your margin for error shrinks. So, what should you do? Begin by reading your labels. Examine every supplement you take and verify the dosage of B6. Anything above 5 to 10 milligrams per day for older adults might be pushing the boundaries. The recommended daily intake is only about 1.7 milligrams for men and 1.5 milligrams for women. You can easily obtain that from food. Chickpeas, turkey, tuna, bananas, spinach, and fortified cereals all contain safe, gentle amounts of B6. And unless your doctor has identified a specific deficiency through lab testing, there is no reason to take more. The human nervous system is a delicate thing, especially with age. And unlike muscles or skin, nerve damage is far more difficult to reverse once it has occurred. So if you're experiencing strange tingles, balance problems, or weakness, don't just dismiss it. It might not be simply old age. It could be an excess of something you believed was helping you. Now that we've covered the 4 vitamins that could be silently harming you, it's time to change direction. In the upcoming section, We'll delve into the 4 most vital nutrients you should begin taking daily after 65. Nutrients that don't just preserve health, but actively foster a longer, stronger, and more independent life. Now that we have reviewed the 4 vitamins that may be insidiously working against your health, let's pause and take a breath. This next segment is different. It's about optimism. It's about reinforcement. And most importantly, it's about providing your aging body with the right kind of assistance. Because after the age of 65, your nutritional requirements shift. You don't absorb nutrients as you once did. You might be eating smaller portions, digesting more slowly, or taking medications that strip essential vitamins and minerals from your body without your knowledge. Even if your diet is excellent, your body may not be extracting the same value from it. This is where intelligent supplementation plays a role. Not more pills, not more marketing hype, but targeted, proven, and age-appropriate support. So, what exactly should you be taking? We're about to examine 4 specific nutrients that have been shown time and again to help older adults maintain mental acuity, physical stability, emotional equilibrium, and biological youthfulness. These are not miracle cures, but they are foundational. When paired with proper nutrition, movement, and self-care, they establish the internal conditions your body needs to repair, grow, and flourish well into your 70s, 80s, and even 90s. We'll start with a quiet mineral that is frequently ignored, but without which your heart, brain, and muscles can all start to falter. Let's discuss magnesium. If I could add only 1 nutrient to every senior's daily regimen, it might very well be magnesium. Not because it's popular, but because it's quietly indispensable. It fuels over 300 enzyme systems throughout your body. It assists in regulating blood pressure, blood sugar, heart rhythm, muscle contractions, nerve signals, and even the quality of your sleep. Yet, astonishingly, by the time a person reaches 65, their magnesium levels are often critically low, and they may be completely unaware of it. Why does this occur? As we age, our ability to absorb magnesium diminishes. Your kidneys begin to excrete more of it, and many common medications, including diuretics, blood pressure pills, and acid reducers, flush it out of your system even faster. Combine that with our modern diet, which is deficient in magnesium-rich foods due to soil depletion, and you have a recipe for disaster. I remember Martha, age 69. She came to me complaining of nighttime muscle cramps, restless sleep, mild anxiety, and an irregular heartbeat that left her feeling unsettled. Her cardiac tests were normal. Her blood sugar was fine, but her magnesium was in the low normal range, a level that might be acceptable on paper, but not for the needs of an older adult. Once we introduced magnesium glycinate, a gentle and highly absorbable form, her cramps vanished, her sleep quality improved, her resting heart rate stabilized, and her sense of calm returned. A magnesium deficiency can manifest in so many ways: fatigue, mood swings, balance problems, headaches, sugar cravings. But when it's rectified, people often feel as though they've turned back time. So, how can you ensure you're getting enough? First, let's talk about food. Leafy greens, avocados, pumpkin seeds, almonds, black beans, and even dark chocolate are all excellent sources. However, for many older adults, diet alone may not suffice, especially if you're on medication or have digestive issues. That's why a magnesium supplement frequently makes sense. Look for magnesium glycinate, magnesium citrate, or magnesium malate. These forms are more bioavailable and are less likely to cause digestive distress than cheaper alternatives like magnesium oxide. The ideal dose for seniors is generally around 250 to 400 milligrams daily, based on your individual needs and diet. Start with a lower dose and increase it if necessary, particularly if you're susceptible to loose stools. One final tip: take it in the evening. Magnesium has a tranquilizing effect and can gently enhance your sleep when taken an hour or 2 before you go to bed. In essence, magnesium isn't optional. It's the behind-the-scenes operator that keeps your systems running smoothly, your mood steady, your muscles relaxed, and your heart consistent. And the best part? It's gentle, affordable, and easy to incorporate into your life today. Next, let's talk about a vitamin that technically isn't a vitamin at all but a hormone, one that your body produces progressively less of as you age. Yet it influences your immunity, longevity, energy, and even your emotional state. It's time we discussed vitamin D3. If you've ever felt more lethargic during the winter, grappled with your balance, or noticed a persistent feeling of mental fogginess or sadness, you are not alone. And it might not just be the change in weather. It could be a quiet deficiency that originates in your skin and ultimately affects your bones, brain, and immune system. Let's talk about vitamin D3. Many people still refer to it as a vitamin, but that's a bit of a misnomer. D3 is actually a hormone that you and your body produce when your skin is exposed to sunlight. But herein lies the issue. By the time you reach 67 or older, your skin's ability to convert sunlight into vitamin D becomes far less efficient. Factor in sunscreen, more time spent indoors, long winters, or mobility challenges, and you could be running on fumes without even realizing it. And the repercussions, they extend far beyond bone health. Vitamin D3 is directly involved in immune defense, muscle strength, balance, cognitive function, inflammation control, and even mood regulation. When your D3 levels fall too low, you become more susceptible to infections, depression, falls, fractures, and even chronic conditions like diabetes, cancer, and heart disease. A major 2020 study in the British Medical Journal revealed that seniors with low D3 levels had a 50% higher risk of respiratory infections and a 30% greater risk of death from any cause. That is not an insignificant figure. That's the difference between flourishing and merely surviving. Let me share another story. Beatrice, age 72, was struggling to walk with a steady gait. She had reduced her time outdoors, especially during the colder months. Her energy levels plummeted. Her mood grew somber. She started forgetting small details, where she had put her keys, why she had entered a room. When we checked her vitamin D levels, they were just a fraction of what they should have been. We started her on a daily D3 supplement, just 2,000 IU per day, combined with healthy fats to enhance absorption. Within weeks, her balance improved. Her energy started to return, and her spirit brightened. So, how much should you be taking? While the standard advice is 600 to 800 IU per day, most seniors require more to restore and maintain healthy blood levels, typically 1,000 to 2,000 IU daily, under a doctor's supervision. In cases of severe deficiency, higher doses may be prescribed temporarily. Ensure your supplement is labeled as vitamin D3 cholecalciferol, not D2. It's better absorbed and more biologically active. And take it with food, particularly meals containing fat, since D3 is fat-soluble. You can also pair D3 with vitamin K2, which helps guide calcium into your bones and away from your arteries, protecting both your strength and your heart. A low D3 level doesn't announce its arrival loudly. It creeps in silently, draining your vitality piece by piece. But once replenished, it can lift the fog, fortify your body, and sharpen your mind, restoring the clarity and energy that many seniors believed was lost to time. Coming up next is a vitamin that many older adults believe they get enough of, but due to changes in digestion and common medications, they may be missing out without even knowing it. Let's explore vitamin B12 and how it can revitalize your memory, mobility, and energy. Of all the nutrients that quietly diminish with age, vitamin B12 may be the most perilous to disregard and the simplest to miss. B12 is essential for your nervous system, the production of red blood cells, energy metabolism, and brain function. Without it, your body begins to decline, subtly at first, then more consistently. And it often produces symptoms we mistake for the normal aging process. Fatigue, brain fog, tingling in the hands or feet, mood shifts, poor balance, memory lapses, and even an unsteady walk or frequent falls. But here's the unexpected twist. You could be consuming all the right foods, meat, dairy, and eggs, and still fail to absorb B12 effectively. Why is that? After age 65, your stomach begins to produce less hydrochloric acid, which is necessary to release B12 from the food you eat. This means that even if you're eating a healthy diet, your body may not be extracting what it needs. And if you are taking medications like acid blockers, metformin, or blood pressure drugs, the problem is compounded. I remember Arthur, age 71. He was still quite sharp, but he had started to notice tremors in his hands, trouble finding the right words, and a slight stumble in his walk. His doctor initially suspected early Parkinson's or even mild cognitive impairment, but when we tested his B12, it was well below the necessary threshold. Within 2 months of daily B12 supplementation, his gait steadied, his mind cleared, and the anxiety subsided. A B12 deficiency is reversible, but only if it's identified early. If it goes untreated for too long, the nerve damage can become permanent. So how much do you need? The recommended dose for older adults is 500 to 1,000 micrograms per day. This might sound high, but B12 is water-soluble, so your body safely excretes any excess. And since food-based B12 is more difficult to absorb as you get older, supplemental B12 circumvents the issue. Look for methylcobalamin or cyanobalamin, forms that are well absorbed under the tongue or through the intestinal lining. You can take it as a sublingual tablet, a lozenge, or even receive injections if your levels are critically low. And if you haven't had your B12 checked recently, it is worth bringing up with your doctor. A simple blood test could be the difference between walking with confidence and wondering why you keep losing your balance. The 12th of May not be glamorous. It doesn't make headlines. But for older adults, it's often the missing piece of the puzzle. The quiet key to thinking clearly, walking securely, and maintaining your independence. And finally, in our next section, we will look at the most potent anti-aging nutrient of all, one that safeguards your brain, your heart, and your entire body from the inside out. It's not a vitamin in the conventional sense, but it just might be the most crucial one of them all: omega-3 fatty acids. Among all the nutrients we've examined today, this last one is in a class of its own, not just because of the sheer number of systems it influences, but because of how profoundly it can affect your capacity to remain independent, clear-headed, and connected to the people and experiences that truly matter. Let's talk about omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. These are more than just nutrients. They are the structural building blocks of your brain, your heart, your eyes, your joints, and even your mood. And yet, over 2/3 of adults over 65 are deficient, simply because we are not consuming enough of the right types of fish, and we are not supplementing with wisdom. Omega-3s are powerful anti-inflammatory agents. They help maintain the flexibility of your blood vessels, alleviate joint stiffness, stabilize your heart's rhythm, enhance memory, and even combat depression. In essence, they help you not just live longer, but remain yourself longer. In a large 2021 European study that followed over 42,000 adults, those with higher blood levels of EPA and DHA had a 36% lower risk of death from all causes. That is not a minor statistic. That's the kind of number that commands attention. I remember Clara, who was 73 years old. She was still mentally sharp but had been feeling slower, foggier, more achy, less like her usual self. She wasn't sleeping soundly, and her mood would dip frequently without warning. After just 1 month of high-quality omega-3 supplementation, she reported clearer thinking, improved sleep, and found it easier to get out of bed in the morning. And most importantly, she felt like herself again. So, where can you get omega-3s? The ideal source is cold water fatty fish like salmon, sardines, or mackerel at least twice a week. But realistically, for many seniors, supplements are the most reliable way to get a sufficient amount consistently. Look for a product that delivers at least 1,000 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA per day, and ensure it has been tested for purity and is free of heavy metals. If you can, opt for the triglyceride form, which is absorbed more effectively. Take it with a meal, preferably one containing fat, for better uptake. And if you are vegetarian or allergic to fish, algae-based DHA supplements are an outstanding alternative. Omega-3s don't work like a stimulant. You won't feel their effects overnight. But over time, they soothe inflammation, fortify the brain, protect your heart, and stabilize your mood. They reduce the minor misfires that accumulate with age and help every cell in your body communicate with each other more effectively. They are not a miracle, but they come very close. Now, let's take a step back for a moment. You have made it through 10 sections, and if you found yourself nodding in agreement, if even one point here made you pause and reflect, then it's worth asking, what is in your medicine cabinet right now? Are you inadvertently taking something that has been slowly eroding your energy, your memory, your balance? Or are you providing your body with what it genuinely needs? Gentle, age-appropriate support to help you live not just a longer life, but a better one. Because the reality is, after 65, health isn't about doing more. It's about doing things smarter. It's not about swallowing every new supplement on the market. It's about understanding what your body truly requires. And when you make wise choices, even one small adjustment can help you wake up with greater clarity, move with more assurance, and feel more like yourself again. So here's my gentle challenge to you today. Take a close look at your supplement routine. Reevaluate it. Reconstruct it with purpose. And if you are uncertain about where to begin, start by asking questions. You have the right to know what is helping you and what might be harming you. If this video has opened your eyes or provided you with a sense of clarity, I invite you to like, share, and subscribe. Not because you have to, but because more people like you, kind, curious, and dedicated to aging well, deserve to hear the truth in a manner that respects their life experience. I am grateful you spent this time with me, and I hope that wherever you may be, you feel a little more empowered, a little more knowledgeable, and a whole lot more in command of your health. Until we meet again, stay strong, stay curious, and take care of yourself with the same devotion you've always shown to others.